Hello, everyone. So, today I'm going to be talking to you again about media literacy. But before I do, I'd like to invite you to walk a mile in my shoes. Okay, so the other day I was talking to my mom about an article I'd read. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but let's just assume it was about how bagels are made. So, I was confidently telling my mother how bagels are made when I realized that I hadn't read any article at all. Instead, I'd watched a TikTok. Now, this is an innocuous situation, so it probably doesn't matter that much. Nevertheless, there's a little bit more to it, and I'm sure you can recognize my story. According to a Pew Research report, 43% of TikTok users say they regularly get news on the site. 43%. That's nearly half. And that's a number that's way too high for an app that was meant for dancing videos. This is also a number that increased from 2022, when it was 33%. Obviously, the amount of people who are getting their news from TikTok is only increasing. According to NewsGuard, though, 20% of TikToks are misinformation. That means for every 5 TikToks you watch, one of them is lying to you. And the sad part about this is you might not be able to tell which is which. There's obviously a problem here. How are we supposed to trust our information if we get it from TikTok? Well, I think TikTok is less of a problem, and our media literacy is more of the solution. So, let's think about how we can fix this. I've come up with a method called CERA, CERA, and that stands for check, evaluate, review, and assess. The first step is check, or check your sources. When watching a TikTok that's making a claim to you, try and sense, or no, not try and sense, try and discover where it's getting its information from. Does it mention an article, a professor, a video, anything else, but you're going to have to look and find out. If it doesn't mention anything, that's already a sign that it's getting its ideas purely from itself, a sign of misinformation in itself. The second thing you must do then is, if there are sources, evaluate them. That's E. If you see a source in the TikTok, go to it, read it, and find out what it's saying. There's always the possibility that the TikTok might have misinterpreted a scholarly article, or that the scholarly article might not really be so scholarly. It's good to check the reputability of sources, as well as their accuracy and general respectability, and their bias, if they have any. This third step is review, with all this information in mind. Once you know the sources, if you know if they're credible or not, you know what their biases are, you can reread or rewatch. And in this case, it's TikTok, so you'll be rewatching. You can rewatch and find out if the content still aligns with truth, or what you believe to be truth. This is a good place to check if the authors or video posters' biases are coming out in any way. After you've reviewed, you can assess. Is this information true? With everything you know about it, do you believe it? Well, at this point, you can feel safe to share if you believe the article is true. But consider not going through all these steps and just sharing a TikTok that you see because you think it's interesting, even though it might be making a faulty claim about reality. If it comes out that you're wrong, you might be embarrassed. But if you use the Sarah method, you're saving yourself from future embarrassment, and you're saving yourself from perpetuating fake news. Consider not sharing, and first of all checking to see if your source is true. As we know from an MIT study, fake news spreads 6 times faster on Twitter than actual real news. So it's obvious that we need to think before we send. As I close, I would like to invite you to start using the Sarah method as you encounter news on TikTok. It's kind of unavoidable that you're going to see it, but you don't have to be taken in. Remember that as a general rule of thumb, scrutinize before you share.